Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Organized Earth Network. So, today we are picking up where we left off on part one of Truth Does Not Have to Hurt. And so, we talked about hidden history or lost history. Uh, I'm very reluctant to call it lost. And today we're going to be talking about symbols and how those symbols relate to the land that we're currently living in now. So we've got symbols from ancient Egypt, Kemet, in comparison to the symbols of our country that has been established. And the thing that I really wanted to point out, symbols are very important. Images are very important. You can use an image, which is what they did back in the day when you couldn't even use a language, and thanks to, and I'm probably getting a little bit ahead of myself, a Frenchman by the last name of Champollion. He was the one that actually was able to break or decipher the Rosetta Stone, which was able to give us a more in-depth understanding of the hieroglyphics that was written on the walls and is written on the walls in many of the tombs that are being excavated over in ancient Egypt even until this day. So because of that, we're able to go in and point out a lot of the similarities that this country borrowed from the ancient Egyptian times. And my whole thing is not so much to point out the greatness, of the African continent, because trust me, it was great and it still is great. But I want to point out how this country that we are living in now has borrowed a lot of the symbols, a lot of the sayings, and a lot of the stories, and they've borrowed it without giving proper credit. And if you've been to college, one of the first things you have to sign off on is plagiarism. Other than plagiarizing, you have copyright infringements that you have to be concerned with, and that's pretty much from what I could see from the history that the U.S. has did to the African continent, and they have not received their just due for the contributions that they have made to civilization. So just want to go over today a couple of images that we are very, very familiar with, or I don't want to say very familiar, we're very familiar with the paper that these images are written on, and that is going to be your $1 bill. And so I want to do a parallel of the Great Seal that's on the $1 bill, as well as the pyramid that's there, and want to compare that to the ancient symbols used in ancient Egypt. Kemet is what it was known as. The name was changed to Egypt. To just kind of let you see for yourself what has been taken from the ancient African history and brought over into ours. And keep in mind that these symbols were in Africa thousands and thousands of years before they ever reached the U.S. And, we have a tendency to talk as though or put information out there as though everything that has happened great for civilization that is happened here, but that's not the truth. I love my country, and I'm very excited for the information that I've gathered and researched and gleaned and about where I come from as well, where we all come from. And I think when we get to the bottom of where we all come from, I believe we could start to iron out some of our differences. So again, I wanted to talk about the dollar bill. Um, you know, this is again world history. And if you would get out your dollar bill, turn it over on the back. You can pause me for a moment while you do that. And you could even get you out a notepad. I'm a note taker, so I keep something to write on. Anyhow, so we have the dollar bill, and we have the Great Seal that's on it. And one of the things that we see, I'm going to just kind of talk about the Great Seal on the U.S. of the U.S. and then we'll compare it to the Egyptian symbol. So we have on the back of our dollar bill, we have the Great Seal, and that Great Seal is made up of an eagle. We have the eagle with a ribbon inside of its mouth, and in that ribbon there are 13 letters on that ribbon. E pluribus unum is what it says, meaning out of many there is one. I'm just kind of trying to take a look here to make sure I could get a good look at the dollar bill. And so we have the eagle with the shield on the front, and you'll notice on that shield there's 13 stripes on that shield representing the 13 colonies. On the top of that shield is a bar representing Congress, which rests upon those 13 colonies. We have the wings, of course, of the eagle that is you know, spread wide, showing freedom. And nobody breaks this down better than Dr. Anthony Browder. We also have in the eagle's talons, he is holding in the right hand olive branch with 13 olive leaves and olives on that branch. And then in his left hand, left talon, he is holding arrows, 13 arrows. All right. And so we also have at the top of the eagle's head, we have a round circle that is representing the constellation, has a constellation of stars up there. And I'm going to stop right there, and I want to move on over to the Egyptian symbol that predates this symbol for over, I believe, 5,000 years is what I read. You will notice on the ancient Egyptian symbol that there is a falcon, a bird. You notice just like on the Great Seal of the U.S., the tail of the bird is hanging low. We have this falcon with two in his talons. We have in the right talon as well as the left talon, we have what we call a shin, which represents infinity. And then we have on that shin what we call an ankh. Some people call it an ankh. And that represents so many things: the Trinity, family. You'll notice that even the ankh has the appearance, or shall I say the cross that we have over here in the U.S. Has the appearance of the shape of this particular symbol that was used for religion and spiritual things and so on and so forth. So above the head of the falcon we have a round circle, which is a sun that is sitting above the falcon's head, and that has all of these symbols have meaning. Okay, again, to really break this thing down, you could go in more in depth with Dr. Browder's information. But what I'm trying to point out is the significant comparisons that are between the two, and for some reason we didn't get the memo on none of this over here in, the educational system that I came through. There's so much that we have not been made aware of, while in school. And, I think it's very important for parents and every adult to have knowledge of our history and where you come from. At the end of the day, I said it on the first video, if I'm not mistaken, we're all one. That's the first thing we need to establish, and we need to establish that very quickly. We are all one. So what happens to one, it affects the other. And we are a part of one bloodline. That bloodline is called Homo sapiens sapiens, which is over 250,000 years old. And like I said in video 1, you could find that information in the David Koch Hall of Human Origins, all right, as well as the Smithsonian Museum. So I'm not just giving you something that I think or I believe. If I'm going to give you stuff based on history, trust me, I'm going to be getting it from credible sources that has facts that these things exist. And because I know for sure they exist, I would say do your research. If you've never heard of these things, start digging. And there's two types of education. It's the one that somebody give you, and it's the one that you get for yourself. And it's that latter one that we must really stay focused on, because that's the one that's going to help us the most. So we'll notice also on the back side of the dollar bill, we have the back of the seal that is there as well, sitting to the left, and that is the pyramid. Now, pyramids are come from the ancient lands as well. Yes, you had some people from the ancient Africa or Kemet or different Africans move around, so you have them, that pyramids that showed up in different places. But ancient Africa, ancient Egypt was the place that these things originated. Okay, even to this very day, man cannot figure out how these pyramids were even built. They've even went and tried to replicate and with the technology that we have today, and it still has not been done. So I can't call the specs of these pyramids right off the top of my head, but trust me, we're dealing with some very heavy stone. These pyramids are extremely big, a whole lot bigger than what they appear on National Geographic or whatever. And it's just so amazing to me that was done, but even more amazing that's something that the culture that I came from has offered, has put into or shall I say has been able to let me tell you why I get so caught up on words. Number one, I told you we are one, and we all come from the same place, same mother, okay? And I think when you start talking along the lines of skin color, you start losing a lot of people. So I try very hard to choose my words with taste, and to make sure that I'm not offending, because this is world history, not just ancient African history. This is history that everybody needs to know, because we're all a part of it. It's just that we have a certain group that don't care to be a part of it, even though they know. When I say hidden history, that means somebody knows about it, and chose to hide it from everybody else. So back to the pyramid, you'll notice that pyramid has words above it, and that is Annuit Coeptis, and that means that God has favored this undertaking, and has blessed it with annual endowments of unlimited wealth, is what that means. But I have to chime in on that and say that, yes, I think that God is all and above all, but at the same time, some of the claims that people make in God's name is questionable, because we have a lot going on in the name of God in this country that if you truly knew who God was, you probably wouldn't be, we wouldn't see a lot of the evil and experience a lot of the evil and things that we see. But my whole point in saying that is this country has unlimited wealth because it was built on 400 years of free labor, and so of course we're going to have unlimited wealth. And not to say that, God did not provide for others, but you just have to be able to decipher some things for yourself. So upon this, right up under Annuit Coeptis, we have the all-seeing eye, which that all-seeing eye was borrowed from ancient Africa. It is the eye of Horus, and we have the step pyramid that is 13 steps high. We have at the bottom of that pyramid, the very first step, we have Roman numerals written down there, which is 1776. I have the Declaration behind me here. You can see it coincides with the Declaration of Independence being formed during that time. And we have at the bottom Novus Ordo Seclorum, and that means establishment of a new secret order. Okay, and that was also founded on ancient esoteric principles. So we could see here that we have a lot of imagery that has been taken from that country, the continent of Africa, ancient Egypt, and Kemet, and used here. And people don't have a clue where these images come from. Why did they choose the pyramid? Why did they choose a bird as a part of the Great Seal? Well, when you want to achieve greatness, most likely you're going to try to emulate or fashion yourself after someone who came before you that was great. And I just think that it's awful that we did not learn a lot of this information in school. We can't really blame it on anyone, because if something is hidden, I mean, you just don't know. So just to kind of sum it up a little bit here with the comparisons, we have the birds, we have the talons with them holding something of significant value in the talons. And also I want to say that you could even take a look at the head of the bird that is turned to the right, and that was symbolizing with the U.S. symbol that we would prefer peace over war, because remember, they had the olives in one hand, in one talon, and then they had the arrows in the other. The olives represented peace as we know it, and then we have the arrows, which represents war. And you'll also notice with the emblem or the image, the African ancient image with the falcon's head is also turned to the right. And so this is scratching the surface of what all of this means. But I'd like to put it out there to just kind of give you something that you could begin to build upon. I don't know it all. I know what excuse me. I know what I have, again, researched and have came to know for myself. And I love researching the works of different people that I know is credible. I really like to research and go through Dr. Anthony Browder's books and different things, because he is the person that is actually over there representing melanite, brown skinned black people. He's been over there excavating for years, and have been to Egypt probably by now about 70 times or more. And him, his daughter, and he always takes a crew over to tour and to actually go in and do the work. You're actually getting hands on. You're not just walking through. And so he has really inspired me to do some more homework to find out, where exactly did we come from. And we got to know that if we're going to be able to move forward and understand why we're in the conditions we're in now and where we're headed, where we're going to end up. Okay, so anyway, I hope this gives a better understanding of your money that you've been spending for years and years. I'm sure that we just really hadn't stopped for a minute to understand what these different symbols and things mean. And just, you could see for yourself once you begin to go in and dig how the U.S. and the African ancestry correlates. And it is so many other symbols here in our country that you're looking at on a daily basis. You have no clue what let me stop saying you and let's say we. Let me say we. We have no clue of some of the things that we are actually looking at. We have no clue of the significant value of these different shapes and these different images and symbols and things that have been hidden right here in plain sight, right here in our own country, that came from ancient Egypt. So again, I hope that this has inspired you to do some of your own homework. There are significance to every symbol that is on these seals, such as why they choose the number 13, the all-seeing eye, more significance to the sun that is resting upon the head of the falcon. Just begin to go in and research while that's still available to us in this country freely, to go in and do some research. But I want to tell you guys, stay safe out there. This is the day before July 4th, and I'm looking for definitely their sun. I always tell you there's sun on the other end of the tunnel, and it's gonna shine. It's gonna shine. But we need everybody to start doing their part, using their platforms to get this kind of information out there, so we could begin to build upon it and move forward from where we're at. I feel like there is going to be some more bloodshed and different things that happen in between time of war and peace, but peace is definitely coming, and it is just around the corner for all of us. So until next time, I hope that you would continue to be self-sufficient and continue to do your research on all things concerning life and living, which is what this channel is all about. And be sure to go and check out Green Life Garden and Home DIY channel. That's my gardening channel where we have lots of videos on how to grow food for your family. So I think that's going to wrap us up for today. Do hit that bell so you will be notified of the next video that comes out on the topic of truth does not have to hurt. And remember, that is the topic because we are wanting to get truth out there, or I'm wanting to get truth out there so that we could begin to mend and heal. And it's only the truth that's going to set us free. And there are those who don't want to hear the truth, and they have their own reasons for not wanting to hear it. And then you have those that welcome the truth with open arms. And so, again, thank you so much for stopping in and listening. Do comment. If you like the content, click like. And don't forget to share. Do not forget to share and subscribe. All right, so until next time, happy 4th of July. Happy Juneteenth to those that I've missed in the month of June. Bye.